Can we? Is it okay?
Oh,
can we kill that fan? Maybe.
You want to kill the fan? I mean,
Kill it?
I don't recommend it.
Well, it's just.
I can move it.
It's nice with the fan.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
move it back.
Let's move it back. It's just.
Is
a
it
little loud.
background music?
Yeah, it's a little loud.
Well, I'm gonna be good tonight. I'm already fucking fumbling over my words.
Words aren't important.
Mm.
It's just a podcast.
It's true.
True, but we're so good at it usually, Drew, and we're experts that
Right.
anything less is a letdown for people.
Hold yourself to a higher
Oh,
standard.
you know what?
Exactly.
Speaking of
Well,
which,
that is true.
the other day I was in that room with the door shut, and I spoke, and I realized we've got to move the equipment in there.
Oh, is it?
The acoustics are fantastic.
Oh, really?
Absolutely fantastic. Crystal clear. Sounds great. I just sat there. I stood in there with the door closed and talked.
Yeah, but
It sounded
isn't
good.
it the size of this table though? Wouldn't we just?
Oh, we'd fit. It would all fit in there. It would be a little tighter. But I mean,
we'd fit.
we'd
it
fit.
would fit.
Oh,
But it doesn't matter because we're talking directly into a microphone.
I suppose. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You gotta
Maybe when you're recording your audiobook for your memoirs, you can,
Right.
you can do it in there.
Right.
That'll be good.
You know who I think should do an audiobook narration is Reno Notaro.
Oh yeah, smooth. Silky
Yeah,
voice.
yeah, he'd do great.
Are we ready to rock this?
Chuck Nasty up.
Don't get too distracted by the game.
Why not?
I know you're.
trying to entertain.
I know you're the
Legions.
biggest Rockies fan here.
You are wearing the hat. See that? And this guy knows like everything there is to know about it. So
Yeah, but he's not a fan.
so I'm like
He can't be a
number
fan.
three.
He can't be a fan. He
Can't
can't
be
be
a
a
fan.
fan. It's against the rules.
Yeah, you can. You can totally be a
It's
fan.
against the rules.
No, it's
cheering
not.
in the press box.
It's true.
Yeah.
Live.
Hold on.
Live from the Sportique Studios.
Okay.
All right, we'll just check in from time to time. How about that?
Okay. Well, maybe Drew needs to see it
it's all right.
for his
You don't have
job.
to close the laptop.
Yeah, you don't have to close the laptop. I said just don't be paying attention to it.
Oh,
It's-
that's right.
Oh, okay. All right, we ready to go?
We weren't doing that. I know I'm not ready to go. Hold on. We could use that for the bumping music.
Entertainment and broadcast.
Little Pretenders.
Excellence in Broadcasting Network.
I do like the Pretenders.
Are you in need of heaters, chillers, process piping, HVAC systems installed or serviced?
I need all that.
You know, every time that comes on, I'm thinking like, what's this union commercial doing on KOA? They don't like unions, do
Oh,
they?
no, they don't. They're union busters.
Yeah. Oh, they're busters, all right.
It's complicated. It's
They've
complicated.
got enough money to pay for the ads. So that's important.
All right, you guys ready to rock this? I am finally ready to rock it. You guys
Let's
ready to
go.
rock? Can I do
Let's
it?
do it.
All right, here we go.
I'm ready. You
Why
ready?
not?
Ah! Currently, I'm not ready.
Try it again.
You're not ready.
Still, I'm not ready. Hold on a second. Here we go.
Ready-ish.
Ready-ish. Here we go. Ready? Ready? Ready?
Yep. Live from the Sportique Studios at the Spine One Illegal Burger Practice Dome at Pat Bolin Fieldhouse at Lexus Field at UC Health Training Center at Broncos Budweiser Medved Shaneco Make America Great Again Training Camp at Mile High. This is the South Stand Denver Podcast. I'm Colin Daniels with producer Scott Stafford, musician, podcaster, actor, director, and senior Rockies editor for BSNDenver.com, Drew Ian Kreisman. Host, John. Are you at the bottom of your fifth?
Yeah, I am. Wish I was.
Woo!
Welcome to the show, everybody. Yeah.
Woo!
That's a riff and a half. Welcome to the show, everybody. South Stands Live. We're back. We're live on YouTube. You might be listening to us on the new and improved SouthStandsDenver.com website, which looks beautiful, by the way. And hopefully that'll be up there soon. If you're not listening on that and something bad happened. So I don't know if that's even going to work.
Apparently iTunes is still a thing too. I looked it up. Yeah, that's still a thing. Apple Podcasts.
Yep. I haven't really listened to a show in a long time. I used to listen to it all the time just so I could make sure that I sounded good and I was doing things the right way. But I haven't listened in a long time.
I haven't either, and that's good to
You
know.
should. The last show was great.
Is the quality horrific?
I have no idea. I just assume it's good.
Am I doing okay?
I don't know.
You're
I have no
doing
idea.
great.
Okay,
I have no
thanks.
idea.
Appreciate it.
How are the levels? Are they all right?
The levels
are
good?
good?
I feel good about my
Okay.
level.
But you know what? I might listen to this show because we're going to talk all kinds of Rockies.
Yeah, that's what we
Drew
need.
Priestman. How's it going, Drew?
Good, man. Colin used my middle name. I was thrown off by that.
However, I had to spell it incorrectly in my notes to make sure I pronounced
You
it
got it right,
correctly.
huh?
Right. That was the thing I was most impressed by, was that you pronounced it exactly right. How did you do?
I spelled it phonetically.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Wow.
excellent. Is that it's Ian?
Yes.
But it's a funky spelling.
It's EYAN.
So it's like spelling like a kid's name, like I don't know, like when they spell a kid's name,
Yeah, when they spell it wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they spell it
right.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then expect the whole rest of the world has to compensate for you.
And everyone was like,
I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, Meg Hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the genesis of that? Hippie parents? What's going on?
It is a male version of the Irish name Anne, A-Y-N, which was my grandmother's name and is my mother's middle name. But in my generation, there were mostly boys. So I inherited the family name Anne, but a male version of it. They didn't want to just, my parents at least gave me that. They were, weird enough hippie parents to name us Drew and Ira, though that's my brother. So yes, there's that too.
Gotcha.
But there is a family history.
I gotcha. Well, welcome to the show. Welcome back. We were just saying it was about high time you came in here and talked a little bit about my Colorado Rockies, because they are red hot, and a certain person in this room had probably written them off visibly on Twitter like 3 or 4 times before the All-Star break. And then now that they're rolling again, he's back on board.
You're back on board.
I'm way back on board. I was definitely a bit of a bandwagon.
I remember there was a tweet and you said, if they don't do X, Y, or Z,
but they did. It was
I'm
beat
out.
the Diamondbacks the following day, and they
You said,
did.
I'm out.
So they did.
Is this the natural reaction of the Rockies fan? Is this the temperament of the Rockies fan, Drew? Is this what you experience a lot of?
Yeah, that's about right.
It's about right?
That's about par for the course. It's I mean, it's a tough game. It'll do a lot to you. You'll go through. Every team will, good ones and bad ones, and it's sometimes very difficult during those times when they're just not winning games or they're blowing every single game. And I think that was what was really tough this season, was that bad stretch in June for Rockies fans came when they actually weren't just overall playing terrible baseball. They kept losing it right at the end, and you felt like they were just kicking the whole season away. It was just the type of losing that they were doing. And every team that's, even good teams, even the Dodgers last year went through a stretch where they lost 12 of 13 games. It's tough to separate yourself from the recency bias of how bad something looks at any given time and just say, yeah, but what is the talent level of the squad? It's very good, actually.
I sat through 2. Count them 2. I know you were there. You're always there. But I sat through 2 Brian Shaw implosions.
Oh, yeah.
And I think one was against the Dodgers where he gave up like 6 runs in the 7th. The other one was against the Reds, I think. And
Well,
it was just it's so painful that you feel demoralized.
it is, but I think, and I hope most people get to this point, and I'm not saying I am saying I'm more enlightened than most, but what I'm saying is that what's your end goal of getting into a sports team? It could be any sports team. It could be Broncos. It could be the Nuggets. It's for your enjoyment, right? And so obviously you want them to succeed, and you can get upset. But then if they're not playing well, but just the carrying on and just the end of the world type attitude, I just kind of think like, if product and experience aren't that good, don't come, right? That's kind of how and years removed from that, I think, you know what, Dick had a point there. Now obviously the owner can't tell people that. But it's true. If it's not working for you and you're upset, then just don't tune in. But if you're getting something out, you're enjoying it. I want to see them win more than anyone else. It sucks when they blow a game. But I discovered a while ago, and the Broncos made me realize this, that they can ruin your fucking day, and they will ruin your night and the next day, and if you let it. But when it's good, it's good, and when it's bad, then you just got to walk away. So
well, and we've had this conversation with Andrew Feinstein about being a Nuggets fan and how you as a Nuggets fan, you kind of have to adjust your expectations. World championships are not that's not the bar for a Nuggets fan. You have to be able to consider a 6th seed in the Western Conference a wild success as a Nuggets fan. So you kind of have to dial back your expectations. I don't feel the same way about the Colorado Rockies. Certainly not at this stage of the game. I feel like there's no reason that we shouldn't expect them to win the NL West.
I agree. No, I agree. It shouldn't be about dialing back expectations. I think it should just be more about recognizing the different nuances of each sport. I think Denver is getting better as a baseball town, but is still got this.
We still do the wave.
Right. Well,
but they do the wave in St. Louis.
That's a whole other conversation. But there is a pervasive football mentality that just kind of comes into the way people think about the game of baseball. And I had somebody say to me the other day when people were comparing the Broncos and the Rockies, and somebody said to me, well, I'll start taking the Rockies seriously when they've played for more world championship or they have, fewer losing seasons, or more world series or world championship contentions than losing seasons like the Broncos do. And I was like, there's one team in Major League Baseball for whom that's true. It's the New York Yankees, right?
Who've been playing forever.
Right. Yeah. And that's partially true because a lot of the World Series that they played in happened during the first 40 years of baseball when there were only like 10 teams. So it's like, yes, that can happen. And it's great that the Broncos are an institution in Denver, and that's awesome. But it's not just that. You're right. In baseball, you have to adjust your expectations because even great teams are going to lose 60 games. And to John's point, you don't want to be miserable 60 times out of the year.
Yeah.
Your team's still going to end up going to the postseason. But for how talented these guys are, Colin, you're absolutely right. The expectations should be high. I understand that people were disappointed early on more than they were just mad that they weren't winning. But it's like a marathon. You can't be mad. If you're rooting for a guy to win a marathon, you can't be mad in the first third of it that he's not out in front of the race. That's not how you win that thing.
So Colin bailed out and got back on the bandwagon like dozens of times throughout the season. Now he seems pretty committed. He's like doing heart emojis to the Rockies Twitter account. He can't jump off the bandwagon now, right? He's in. He's got to stay on it. Because if he jumps off now, let's say they go on a little skid here, which I don't think they're going to do anytime soon. But if they go on a little skid and he's upsetting him, if he bails out, he shouldn't be allowed back on, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think that's fair.
I gotta tell you guys something. I consider myself now an elevated fan, as I have been exchanging text messages with one Dick Monfort.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. What happened was I was on Twitter one evening talking about Nolan Arenado and how much I love him and how if he gets an extension, if he gets a long-term deal here, I'll get a Nolan Arenado tattoo. And I am tattoo-free. I have no tattoos. That would be my first one. So a gentleman who I've been exchanging comments with on Twitter for many years direct messaged me and said, let me have your phone number. And I said, I don't give out my phone number on Twitter. And he goes, trust me, let me have your phone number. So I did.
Wow, that's a leap of faith.
Few minutes later, by notifications, I got a text message. So it was him texting me and Dick. Said, Dick, this is my friend Colin. We've been talking on Twitter about Nolan Arenado. Wow. And he said he's willing to get a Nolan Arenado tattoo if you guys extend him. So say hi to Colin. Dick, Colin, Dick. I was like, "Hi, Dick. I just want to tell you how much I enjoy the team and how much of a good time I'm having this season." And he's like, "Nice to meet you, Colin." And
Did you say
we all hope that we can get Nolan to stay. And then I complimented him on their management of the ballpark. I said, I don't think you guys get enough credit for the ballpark itself. And now I have his phone number, and I've been texting. I texted him last night.
Now, when has he asked for nudes yet? Because that's
coming.
That's next, because I think this is an elaborate.
No, I'm not LA baby.
This is an elaborate catfishing scheme, I think. And
you do know I sit in Dick's section, right? Section 125.
I've stood next to him. I've stood next to him at a urinal before. I mean, I respect that about him. He doesn't go to a special owner's bathroom.
He does not. He stands with the fan in peace.
Wow.
Anyone who pees with the normals is a man of the people.
This is eye opening. It's really good to know this. So now you got the ear of the owner. That's excellent.
Dick is actually quite the fan when he's at the game. He really wears it on his sleeve.
Well, and it's
really awesome.
His famous line, which technically, he probably, as an owner, you probably shouldn't say it, but he's not wrong. If you're that bummed out, don't fucking come. I mean, that's what I would tell somebody. I've told people in my work life, I'm like, hey, this isn't working for you. Fucking hit the road. And it's awesome to be able to say that and be in a position to say that. But as an owner, you can't say it. But he wasn't wrong. So I think he was kind of in a spiral. They were really shitty. They were probably being mismanaged. And then and I think that he was just spoke his mind at the wrong time. But I think they're doing great now, and they probably should all pat themselves on the back for the good job they're doing. With that said,
that reminds me of, by the way, something else that we talk about sometimes is people bitching about comic book movies that they really hate, but they go to every single one of them. It's like, dude, if you don't like the DC movies, stop going. Literally, no one's making you do this. Like, you're mad that a movie would, and it's the same thing. If sports ultimately are entertainment, and you're tuning in every single night, and you're going to let that determine whether or not you have a good night or not, whether or not your baseball team wins, like, your priorities are probably a bit out of line.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about that a little bit, because I am not going to any more DC movies.
You're done.
Yeah, I'm done. So
you're off the bandwagon.
I'm off that bandwagon. But we can talk about that. We're going to talk about. We got a bunch of Rockies to talk about too. We're just going to talk a little nuts and bolts. X's and O's, Jims and Joes, all that stuff. I do. You know what? We got to even talk. Maybe broach the fantasy season, because it's.
Oh my gosh! It's right around the corner. It's like a freight train coming down the track.
I know. And all of a sudden,
I haven't been listening to any podcasts yet. I don't have any information yet.
You got to get some information, because I just started. Because I was like, I better get going, because I don't know if you guys know this, but I won 3 fantasy titles.
You had a hell of a
plus
year.
An MFL 10.
I didn't know which leagues were they.
The South Stands League, the
B League.
Well, it's South Stands Platinum is what it's called. So yeah,
okay.
But
I got my kicker picked out already.
Oh, do you? Good. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll get your input on that and many other things. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
So I said, Nolan is the new Helton to me, blah, 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 blah.
I had a baby. Let's go, Dick. Get it done.
I said, the other guy goes, I love that Tulo trade. It turns out it was right about the Tulo side, blah, blah, blah. And then Dick says, yeah, how about not playing and earning $20 million?
Woo!
Has
shit.
Yeah, he said that.
Baby.
So is Tulo hasn't played at all in like a year?
He hasn't played this year.
He hasn't played this season.
What's wrong with him? He hasn't played this season.
Heavy
He's
legs.
hurt and broken, Dad.
Same
He's
thing.
old and broken.
Because I saw that they said he hadn't played in a long time, and I was like, I just assumed he'd been playing and just hadn't done shit.
No, he's broken.
Dick says he hasn't played in over a year. Dude says, that was a great trade with the prospects, blah, blah, blah. Perfect time to sell on Tulo.
Oh, hell yeah. But wait, is anybody who's left from that trade, though?
It's just Hoffman. Well, Tinoco's out there, but it's Hoffman.
It's Hoffman, right?
It brought in Reyes, but they never even. He never played an inning, did he, for the Rockies?
Oh, yeah. Jose Reyes?
Oh, yeah, he played a ton.
Yeah.
He did.
He played for pretty much the rest of that season. He choke slammed his wife in Hawaii, and
Yeah.
paid him $22 million to go away.
To Mets.
To play for the Mets. And then he's kind of picked it up with the Mets. He's been okay. Not, good enough to play.
Was he pitching last night?
Yeah. He had to pitch last night.
He's given up more home runs than he's hit.
Yeah.
Sure.
3-run jack to Mark Reynolds, which is kind of funny. Hey, both those guys were on the Rockies last year, not the year before.
Okay, saved. Cool. All right, we're good. We're live here.
What up?
2 viewers.
Hello.
Wow. Okay.
All right, Bob,
That's-
Steve, what's going on?
That's not bad. That's not bad for live. You know, I think we get more after the fact. So
Doing.
I have been watching the live videos. I've been.
Have they been good?
Huh?
Are they good?
The videos?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Do they
pretty
sound
cool.
okay?
Oh, they sound
Oh,
good.
we have a mic right
Yeah,
now.
that mic works pretty good.
Ah,
That's really loud, by the way. That fan really.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it sounds kind of crappy on.
Well, if you guys don't mind, we can turn it off. I just didn't want to start roasting in here. You
But
know what I
maybe
mean?
turn it on in between quarters or something like that.
Just a little closer here.
mine's a game day frozen. Everything's frozen. What happened? Is there a blackout in St. Louis? Baseball.
Drew, are you a big Dune guy?
Not a huge Dune
Okay.
guy, but there was it a mini series or there was that one, you know what I'm talking about, that was like super goofy but
On,
kind of awesome on TV.
sci-fi.
When like 20 years ago or
Yeah,
15,
It was
when
probably.
I was a kid.
Yeah, it was like. It was probably like 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably like early. And then you know what? It was almost probably 20 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just remembering where I lived.
So I remember being pretty young and thinking it was weird and strange and not totally getting it. My dad being like, yes, but like watch it again. And like keep watching it because it's weird, but I want you to like weird shit. Like it was kind of like my dad introducing me to like, and so I'm not sure I ever totally. I need to go back and watch Dune again.
Well, so the movie.
Yeah.
So there's the movie,
Right.
the David Lynch movie,
Right.
which is awesome.
Okay.
It depends who you ask. Like it's
I
basically
like David Lynch stuff.
It's a
so
David Lynch
It's,
movie.
okay.
Have you seen it?
I don't like it.
I think I have.
So
Yes.
if you
I'd
like
say,
David
in
Lynch
between
movies,
quarters, we should have a-
it is a David Lynch movie with Dune as kind of the plot.
Yeah.
But
Or Lower
the
Speed, you know Lower
miniseries was Dune and Children of and
Lower Speed.
there. So the first 3 books they made the miniseries.
Okay.
Single speed.
Okay.
And like James McAvoy was the Leto. He's the young guy. and
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
one
yeah.
of his first things.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Well, I asked. I see if you're into it because I've read it a bunch of times. I'm in the middle of reading it again,
Mhm.
and every time I read it, I start like that's all I think about.
Yeah.
Like
Same
can't
last
fucking stop. I would suggest reading them.
Okay.
They're fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
They're
I'm a
so
big
good.
fan of the tradition. I've been diving more and more into the history of people like Jules Verne and Frank Herbert. And,
Yeah.
Who's the shit? I'm forgetting the name. Like the grandfather of the whole
Asimov.
Even before that. But yeah,
Yeah.
those
Read-
people.
read-
Philip K. Dick.
Yeah.
I've done a whole deep dive on Philip K. Dick recently. I'm like,
I would suggest reading the first 3 books.
yeah,
The first book is
I need to go back.
Dune.
Yeah, just Dune.
Is Dune, and it's the first half of it. It's pretty slow, and then it gets cooking. Then the next 2 books take place a little bit of time after, and then
Yeah.
the 4th book is a lot time after. But
Mhm.
I won't ruin it for you. But I would suggest reading them and then let me
How
know.
about that card down, huh?
How about Carlos Gonzalez?
It's awesome. You guys ready to get back into it?
Yeah, questions, then music.
Yeah, going to music. I don't even know how to pronounce his first name.
Son Juan.
I thought it was Senwa, but it's Sonwa.
Son Juan.
Sonwa. I thought it was Senwa.
It was.
I haven't been at a game where he's pitched yet, but I heard that he uses the Seven Nation Army
Uh,
intro as he walks up,
Oh, cool.
and you go, oh, 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 oh. So I need some audience participation as well.
Okay, that's cool.
Speaking of, I'm looking here at Cardinals pitcher Ponce de Leon.
Yeah.
So the double play. Shit.
Wouldn't the perfect walk-in music
Safe.
for him?
Oh.
No, he's safe. He'll call it back. Wouldn't that be the Sound of Science, Beastie Boys, right? Ponce de Leon, constantly.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So they could just, here we go, drop as he's walking and dropping it tall. It's perfect. He's not using that like he really should be.
He
He's safe.
He's safe.
Totally safe. All right, so I need some audience participation with
Okay.
the.
So let's do a read, and then the questions music, and then the music.
Read.
Read questions,
Oh,
Okay.
I don't
then
know.
music.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
we
All
can
right.
do this.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, I need my phones.
BSN Denver right now is $8 a month.
Oh no, it's like $5 a month if you're paying for it month by month.
And it's $30 a year.
Yeah,
How's that going? Good?
good.
Good. Yeah.
Not great, but good. Like better than I thought it was going to go. I was like, shit, this is not going
When
to
I
work.
saw the subscription
I was
model,
like,
when I saw the subscription thing, I went ashen. I was
Yeah.
like, oh no.
yeah.
Did we were that thing? And he was like, I don't know about this. I was like,
I was kind of similar, and then a week later, the Denver Post was like, "We're going to sub, and it's $12 a month." I was like,
You're
"I
like-
feel better
you're like,
today."
"Cha-ching."
I
Yeah.
was like, "We're much
And the
cheaper."
Colorado Sun is not doing sports
Yeah,
at
so,
all.
Which
We had
kinda
them
bums
in
me out.
last show.
Yeah,
And
I'm
they said-
rooting
they-
for those guys.
Yeah, oh, me too.
Yeah.
I sent my
Yeah,
$60.
it's-
You like that was a good show.
Oh, it was a fantastic.
You know what? I had someone tell me they were like, that wasn't your best show.
You know,
Oh,
I was
know
really
it was-
upset.
know it
And I was like, really? I thought it went pretty good.
Say such a thing.
Should I out him? Snoop Cow.
Oh,
Snoop
Snoop
Cow.
Cow.
Snoop
Dude,
Cow.
dude.
Snoop Cow didn't like it.
Dude, he's like, he's all Ramsanity.
I went camping with Snoop Cow. Did I tell you?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, up at your buddy's land. there?
Slept in a tent together. It was,
hey,
Oh, yeah?
that is fan service.
I was like, buddy, thanks for listening to the podcast. I'm gonna pay you back. I spooned him all night long.
We take care of our
Oh, yeah.
listeners here.
Yes, sir.
Did Earl Campbell Hot Links? Did you do it?
No, I did
Yeah.
not. You know what? That just came up.
I see those in the store. They're always 30% off.
They're delicious. But
They might as well print 30% off on the label.
you know what? I was very wary of what I was going to eat, so I kind of kept it kind of mellow because I was like, I didn't want to have to shit behind a tree again, and so I kind of kept it mellow, and I was like, I even had coffee after I got back down, and I made it back home before I had to take a crap. So I did something right, and I think that was not having Earl Campbell's hot dog
Probably
sauce. I
so.
think that was it. So
Probably so.
Yep.
Definitely,
All right, we ready?
definitely good.
Sometimes in life, it's the decisions you don't.
exactly. I'm ready if you guys are.
Let's do it.
BSNDenver.com is your best option for covering all 4 local teams like a blanket. It's a subscription site, $5 a month, $30 a year. It's the cost of a latte, for God's sakes, and you're getting the best coverage from the best reporters who are there on site at all the team facilities. Tell them the South Stand sent you. Sign up for BSN Denver. You're going to get Drew Ian Kreisman. You're going to get Ryan Konisberg. You're going to get all the best. And they got Adrian Dater over there. Man, you got to get on board with BSNDenver.com, and you got to tell them the South Stand sent you. Will the Broncos go undefeated at training camp again this year? Did they have a really great week of practice? Among the $45 million worth of improvements to UC Health Training Center, did Vance Joseph really only notice the hot tub room? Was it his idea for the door to lock from the inside? Who's more on the hot seat this season, Vance Joseph or Annabelle Boland's plastic surgeon? Drew, do you think I'm cool enough for Isotopes Twitter? Is Case Keenum a Kyle Freeland guy? Does Eric Decker check all the boxes to be a receiver for the New England Patriots in that he's white? Does the continuing success of the Colorado Rockies have the program director at 104.3 The Fan very, very nervous? How often does Taylor McGregor have to say to Drew Goodman, Drew, my eyes are up here? You have questions. We have answers. SouthStandsDenver.com, Colorado's finest internet sports talk since 1971.
Okay, guys, all together. Here we go. Ready?
Oh, 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 oh.
We're doing it. Yeah. That's O's like Tulo thing.
Yeah.
So that's we
So when
Everyone has to
he's
learn that.
pitching
Everyone has
well,
to
is he
learn
in the ozone?
Do you know how he did his shirt? His O and his
Yes.
18.
Yes.
Oh, I
And
heard that means
18 is
something.
if you say the word 18 in Korean, it sounds like the word for fuck. So it's like oh fuck.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
So
Okay.
as soon as I see one of those, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
018.
So you're talking about like everyone's favorite player now. Pretty
Yeah,
much. That's
yeah,
awesome.
dude.
Yeah.
Did you see this? I saw this little thing on Zombie Root
oh.
Sports about his interpreter.
yeah,
There's like two of them.
Eugene.
yeah, he hangs out with him and has to interpret.
Eugene is phenomenal.
Yeah,
he's
you met
going to
him.
be a star in Denver.
Really?
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
cool.
Songwon Oh will probably also be very good. But I think Eugene Koo is like the most popular player
Now,
on
did they-
Rockies Twitter right
Did
now.
they live? They live together, or they just live by?
They
each other?
live together. They go to the park together.
Well, I know he has to probably walk him around and interpret for him, but I mean, he's like, he wakes up, he's in the room next to him, and they're like, "Let's go, oh, like let's get it going," and then he has to like go down to McDonald's and order for him and shit.
They sit together in the bullpen. It's awesome. It was a cool
That's
little
cool.
feature.
I like it. That's awesome.
How do you guys feel about that being the one move that they made before the trade deadline?
I
It's
was
a
a little
good
bit
move.
disappointed that they didn't do like another lefty middle reliever kind of thing before the trade deadline. That was a little
Well,
disappointing.
let's ask the expert, Drew. What do you think?
Well, I think if that's your major concern, then you're fine because they can still do that. The trade deadline really is for those big blockbusters. And even those can happen, after in what they call the non-waiver. Isn't baseball fun with all these crazy, weird little rules that
A
just
lot of it.
confuse everything? But remember last year, Justin Verlander was actually traded in August during this period we're in now, the non-waiver deadline, which is where all this weird stuff has to happen. Guys have to pass through waivers and teams can make claims on them. And you can still make moves. And usually Justin Verlander type moves are much more difficult to make. What you do with it is pick up a left-handed middle reliever, somebody who got cut in a 40-man roster crunch on someone else's team. There's actually a lefty reliever out there whose name escapes me at the moment, who just got cut from the Phillies in such a way, a 26-year-old who's got not a great ERA against righties, but is a real lefty specialist. That's exactly what the Rockies need. He's out there. You can go get him now. So I think for the people who wanted the Rockies to go get a catcher, they're SOL. For the people who wanted the Rockies to go get an ace pitcher, not going to happen, Johnny. Like they're going with.
We've got like three of those right now.
But you say a catcher now, Real Muto.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones that was being kind of kicked around. Yeah, obviously they couldn't have four catchers. So,
Right.
So you think that's not going to happen? You think if anything does happen, it would be for that middle reliever, something kind of minor.
I think so. I think and this is me reading between the lines from even off the record conversations, because guys are very careful with this type of thing. But my feel is that the conversations for Jacob deGrom or JT Real Muto were absurd from the perspective of the Mets and the Marlins. Like, not just your top prospect, Brendan Rodgers, plus a bunch of B-level prospects, but like your top prospect, Brendan Rodgers, your top pitching prospect, Peter Lambert, David Dahl, Ryan McMahon, and Raimel Tapia to get. And then you're like, no, we're not going to give you our entire immediate future for one guy. I don't care who it is.
I wouldn't want to give up any two of those.
Well, talk to me about this Ryan kid. When can we expect to see him in the big leagues?
Which one, Ryan McMahon?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's in
There
the big
now.
leagues
He's in
technically
Albuquerque.
now. He just got called up a few days ago. He's going to be out there playing a little bit of second base for him. They're still waiting to see what's going on with DJ LeMahieu. I think McMahon's going to be a fixture on this team for the rest of the year and into the future, though. I think it took him a little while to stick at the big leagues, longer than people were hoping. It's a smoother transition for some guys than it is for others. It took him a little while longer to adjust to it, and the Rockies had other guys they wanted to get in there. I think Ryan McMahon's going to be a very good big league ball player.
I was thinking of Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers is in Albuquerque, and now when will Brendan Rodgers?
We just got called up.
Yeah.
He just got called up to Albuquerque. Brendan Rodgers will probably be at the big league level in September, unless he just has an awful couple of weeks in AAA. The kid can hit. Right now, we don't know if he's a shortstop, if he's a second baseman, what his future is. We don't know what the future of DJ LeMahieu is, but I can tell you this right now. Brendan Rodgers can hit a baseball, and I think he's going to be there in September. If nothing else, is right-handed pop off of the bench, and I suspect he's going to do very well.
It's awesome.
It's exciting. What about Todd Helton?
Yeah, get him in there.
I mean, I'm sorry, holidays.
Yeah.
Matt Holiday. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I meant Matt Holiday.
Rodgers, Ryan McMahon. Speaking of Todd Helton, I forgot to bring it up. When the next break, I'm going to.
He's a hell of a burger, that guy.
I've got these old posters, and one is a Helton. It's a Helton, and he's like a fucking rookie. He's clean shaven, looking real hunky. Looks like he's on the cover of Hondo or something. And then also what I plucked was a Canseco, a Clemens, and a Barry Bonds. So I want to put those up in here somewhere next to
with
each
a
other.
needle over the top.
With a big needle over the top. And then I might have a Griffey in there too. If you want the Griffey, they're kind of old. They're kind of If you want the Griffey, it's yours.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me see if I brought it with me. But I'll go grab those, and then we'll get it. I'll put them up there. Maybe we'll stick them up there if we can. Then everyone can look at them a little bit later. But what was I going to say? Oh, I know. We keep saying like Drew this, Drew that. When people are complaining about Drew Goodman, when you see, hey, Drew, you fucking suck, do you think, oh, are they talking about me?
Yeah, because people will often say that too. I'll just see on Twitter, like, what is Drew on about now? This doesn't make any sense at all.
You're like, hold on, let me check this out.
But like, I have to check my last tweet.
Well,
It's like, did I say something stupid?
Thank God Socher's out of town.
It's a Drew
It
attack.
amazes me their ability to talk over game action.
Oh yeah.
It is absolutely stunning how often they do that. I was not watching the game this evening, but I saw our friend Zach Fogg on Twitter commenting about how they had a conversation with Taylor McGregor about her obsession with insects and it going on over game action.
Yeah, it's one of
I guess she likes praying mantises.
Yeah, well, I guess that's good information to have. I think a lot of producers across the country have decided if you're watching sports on television, you don't need a description of the action because you're watching it.
But you don't need the distraction of somebody talking about praying mantises.
Yeah, I would rather have silence.
Silence.
Silence between it.
I think a good broadcaster will give you silence.
We'll give you silence. Now, and the thing is about those guys, and I'm sure you rub elbows with them. We don't want you to, get yourself in trouble. But there's little things, and this is like I've said this before. Growing up, I remember my dad used to just get so upset with like somebody on. Like, he'd watch college football, and I'd be sitting there doing whatever, and he'd be like, "Oh, this guy," and he'd be like so upset at the announcer, and I was just kind of like, I didn't think anything of it. And now I grew up to be the same way, and I'm like, this fucking guy and this announcer, and I hate it because there's little things that drive me nuts. One of them is Goodman will fucking go, "Oh my God, look at that play!" And then it's just like a routine flat. He does that every time, or he routinely goes, "Oh, yeah, he looks out," and then it's like safe, and it's like, "Oh, he was safe." He does it all the damn time, and I'm sure many announcers do it, but he does it a lot, and I see other people pointing it out. And I'm like, I know I'm not imagining this, so it just drives me crazy. So now basically I'm on my phone.
I get tricked all the time when I'm at games. Like, it seems like, oh, that's a home. No, that's like
So you're the one.
20 feet short of the warning track there. It's
So you're the one standing up and freaking out. Okay.
Yeah, well, I stand up
I
and freak out quite a
can
bit.
pretty much, if I'm sitting there, I can tell you if it's like, you kind of know if it's going out or not. I don't know why he doesn't. But anyway, everyone's complaining about Drew, so I figured you'd probably get that.
He's excitable. That's
It's
good.
very excitable.
I do. Can I say one thing where
Yeah.
I sort of sidestep, like you mentioned, critiquing the people that I rub
sure.
elbows with, but still kind of build up my own company. It is, I think, a lot. As I've gotten to know a lot of the, I guess you'd call them on-air talent, one of the things that I've realized is that a lot of this stuff does seem to come from elsewhere, whether it's producers, directors. I don't know who's telling them to behave this way, but a lot of people, that's like not exactly who they are in real life. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really glad that I work at BSN, because then, like in my podcast, you just hear me, or like me sitting here talking to you guys. This is just who I am. There's no one telling me, well, do this and say this thing, and people like this, or behave this way, or always pull for the home team, or always feel like your guy has hit the home run out, or really err on the side of whatever.
You're allowed to do what you want to do.
And I just think having somebody in your ear from afar who's not there every day dictating what you do all the time is a bad way to cover baseball.
And because I think that's the case, because for everything what I've known about Drew Goodman, who's a lifer broadcaster, right?
Yeah.
I just had to look it up what he said. Tonight he was talking about catch probability. He was like, well, Cargo's catch probability. And I thought, motherfucker, when have you ever talked about catch probability? I was like,
someone probably told him.
he mentioned, someone mentioned BABIP, and he just was like so bummed out that they even had to discuss the fucking thing. And I was like, that's a common baseball stat now. And he's talking about catch probability, and Jeff Houston's talking about launch angle. And he's like, well, the launch angle is this, blah blah blah. And then I heard another broadcast, and I couldn't tell you what teams it was, but it was like maybe like an MLB network where they cut in and they were like doing the local guys. And the guy said, like, he was like, well, the launch angle was blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, but you know more about that than I do. And it was obvious that he had been told, you need to talk about launch angle. And this dude had no interest in talking about it, and it was obvious. And so I think Houston talks about it too. I think you're right. Somebody is telling him, talk about launch angle, talk about exit velocity, talk about catch probability. Catch probability, okay, you and I can talk about catch probability. Sure, that's great. My parents, my ancient parents sitting at home, they just think it just sounds like gobbledygook to them. So someone is in their ear telling them that.
Well, and I heard a conversation this morning on the radio with Nikki Javala, and she was talking about how great it is to be at the Athletic, where she can report on things that matter to her, and she can do her own digging and report original stories. And she said, with all due respect to the Denver Post, I loved my time there. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for that. But I had last season, I had to do this quarterback tracker every day, and there was nothing to report, but they said that you need this many column inches on the quarterback battle every morning, regardless of whether there's anything to say. We have this segment set aside in the paper for this QB tracker, and that's what you're going to write. And I loved having the freedom of not being tied down to that particular commentary, because the people who aren't there are telling her what she has to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's the backwards way. Like, all of the industries have turned around like this, right? It's like taxi companies versus Uber. It's Netflix versus network television.
How pissed would you be if you owned a taxi company?
Right?
I'd be furious.
Right? But it is the idea that you let the person who's doing the work decide how much work they need to do for their hours to get however much money they need, and you don't lock them into something that they hate because it's the only thing they can do. It's the exact same thing with a cable package. Why would you pay for that to watch all these TV channels when you pay $10 a month, Netflix, watch whatever you want on that whenever you want to watch it?
Yeah, but you can't watch your sports that way, which I've written about and talked about. You can't get the Rockies games, you can't get the altitude games unless you have a cable.
And baseball's the worst. The ML, they have got to figure out.
They've got to fix it. I cannot listen to a Rockies game on the radio unless I tune my radio to KOA, which means the next morning when I get back in my car, I'm going to turn on the ignition and hear Rush Limbaugh.
Something awful.
Yeah, we talked about that briefly. Yeah, you accidentally hear some Rush Limbaugh or some Mike.
You hear the gas and oil industry telling me how fracking is safe. Yeah. Colorado's.
Hey, get the facts, guys. Get the facts. Don't be spouting off about that. I had a guy that anytime I would say that about get the facts, this dude would show up in my mentions and be like, because he worked in that industry, he'd be like, look, man, this is blah, blah. And he'd give me the spiel. And pretty soon I was just like, I'm just going to mute this guy because I don't want to see this ever again.
Coloradans for Responsible Energy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. The one I like is Colorado Beef Council, which is the name of one of my successful fantasy teams, by the way. Thank you very much. Let's take a quick break. I'm going to grab those posters, and we will be right back. When I pause this, can you run down with me so I can go grab that real quick? I mean, I can run out and come back in, but I don't know if you want the door open that long. Catch probability. Dude, one, I've never heard of catch probability, right? And I'm interested in that stuff enough to, like, if I hear it, I'll go, okay, exit velocity, whatever. It's cool. I'm interested. I've never heard catch probability.
Yeah, it's an interesting little stat.
It's cool, but I hadn't heard of it. But Drew Goodman.
There's so few statistics relating to defensive baseball.
Right. And catch probability is a nice one, but there's a bunch of weird little issues with it. But sometimes it's pretty cool to see, like, if
there were stats for defense, Nolan Arenado would be an MVP.
Right.
I mean, the guy, fuck. God,
he does some ridiculous.
He does some things that are super fucking human. I mean, just the other night, he had a fairly routine, barehanded throw to first and it looks routine because he's so good.
Right. You just
But you
expect
think about
him
the
to do it.
mechanics of what happened, and you're just like, holy shit.
Drew, I saw a couple weeks ago, maybe
Mhm.
10 days ago,
Mhm.
roughly.
Mhm.
You almost catch a foul ball
Yeah.
in the press box.
Up in the press box.
There was
Yeah.
a guy, I saw it zip right back there, and it went through, and there was a guy, older guy, gray hair, kind of threw up his hand,
Yeah.
and it hit him like
Hit him
totally
right in the
the
hand.
forehead.
Yeah. Kevin Henry over at Rock's Pile. Yeah.
And you were like right on it.
I was like, hey.
Okay, there's Drew.
That's awesome. That's funny.
Right
I think it's scary. There was a gal at MLB.com that got hit in the face
I
the other night.
read, I forgot who, Harding, I think.
Yeah.
Put something out about that.
Yeah, it's his like intern person.
Yeah.
She got a Tom Murphy foul ball, got her right in the cheek.
But that was a zip. That was that might have also been Tom Murphy foul ball.
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
yeah.
But that thing zipped back. I was trucking, and I saw it go around. Because because you don't get too many of those, and just some guy just like he didn't catch it.
I like knocked it down a little
But you were
bit.
like over his shoulder to the right, and I saw
Yeah.
you down below. You're like,
Hey.
looking for the bounce there. There he is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, no, it's fun. I'm in 125, row
It's right down.
20. So
Yeah.
Dixon row 4,
Right.
which is really the first row. But,
Right. So you're just right back.
16 rows
Right
back.
underneath where we're at.
Yeah, it's cool. I like that. Yeah, it's cool. I think it's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah. No, that's a pretty good seat.
Like I'd like to be like 5 maybe rows closer would be nice. But, I'll take it
You're right.
when I'm there. I'm in the usher in my section is Mary. Do you know
Oh,
Mary?
sure. Yeah.
Mary's-
Everybody knows Mary.
Everyone knows Mary. That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Yeah.
I say it like you would know her.
Right. It's Mary. Sure.
Mary's awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
She gives me a lot of hell for not going to games recently.
Oh yeah, it's just like, where you been?
I was there for the it was Nolan bobblehead night. That was the game that football. That was the last game I went. So it's been a while.
Right.
Good game. Though.
Yeah, they've been playing really good baseball lately.
I know last year you had briefly for the playoffs you were able to go on the road. Has that been offered up to you this year to help you the road?
Yeah. If they make the postseason, we'll be out on the road covering that. I'm even going to try to get to. I might be down for their series. They got a 2-gamer in Houston. I've got some family in Houston, so Brandon's just got to cover a flight or something. So I'll probably be able to do that. And then maybe in September, if they're really still going well, I'm doing a California trip because those
there
are
you
divisional games. Yeah, clean shaven Todd.
go. It's pretty fantastic.
So clean shaven Todd.
Got a chance to ask Todd Helton a couple of questions this year.
How'd that go?
He did not want to be answering questions from the media, but he was all right.
So look, we got
Oh, look at that.
steroid.
Yeah,
That's pre-steroids.
Steroid number 1.
Steroids.
That's
Big
full on
time.
Big
steroids.
honking awesome
Steroids.
steroids. To be fair, he was one of the best at taking steroids.
Oh, the steroid master.
So we got the steroids, guys.
King of steroids.
And
Then
Unfortunately, it's
no
a-
steroids.
unfortunately, it's a Griffey in Cincinnati.
Oh, Cincinnati.
If you want it, it's yours.
Take it.
You don't have to take it.
No, I didn't know it was Cincinnati Griffey, but I would. No, no, I would. No, that's good.
Samuel Griffey's where it's at.
Yours.
All Griffey is good Griffey. There's no bad
There's
Griffey.
also
Even that name is fantastic.
there's also
Griffey
I had
Jr.
like a Jordan
Yeah.
Brett or something.
Oh yeah, George Brett.
Pine tar bread? Is that,
It's probably around that time, but like you can see how old some of these are. But
Pine tar Brett. Sure, he loves that.
so I mean, the Todd one's got to go up for sure.
Todd father.
Yeah.
That's more like Todd big brother.
He's young looking there.
There he is.
all players are known for something, though, right? Like I'm thinking of help. I think of a horse, right?
Yeah.
And Brett,
He was so good, man.
Barry Bonds. Think of a steroid needle.
So fucking good.
Put Todd here.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not on camera.
Yeah, put them upstairs. We can get more.
Well, let's quit talking.
The Todd of all fathers.
You have to do each corner. It's all kind of fucked up.
Maybe put a little bit closer to the wall so you can fit something else to the left.
The Todd should have his own thing.
Well, maybe.
Hilton's rising in more ways than one.
Oh, it's funny you guys
I'm
were-
getting a rise.
Oh, yeah.
No, Notario's convinced that Todd Helton's gay.
Don't say that on here.
No,
Something about Helton and Peyton Manning. Wife swapping or something.
Look, just because two dudes go out hunting and they're sitting in a deer blind and they're
Like you and Snoop Cow.
I mean, Snoop Cow, yeah.
because they're up on Bareback Mountain doesn't mean that.
Yep.
Whatever.
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, it was bareback.
What?
It was definitely bareback.
What
Wow.
did
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's Snoop Cow. Me and Snoop Cow went to Odell's, had some beers.
Did you really?
No, we didn't go to Odell's.
See, I still think that was your problem.
We went to Cooper Smith's.
Oh, did you have the Punjabi? The Punjabi.
I didn't see it on the menu,
Punjabi. It's fantastic.
but they got good beers there.
They haven't had this on the menu for a long time. They used to have a black bean burger. And I would get the black bean burger with their artichoke dip. It's thrown onto the black bean burger, and like it's so bad for you, but that was my jam at Cooper Smith's. With the puff fries, a Punjabi. Oh God. Whew.
Wait, Drew's taking the Griffey.
Okay.
I wanted to put the three steroids
You a
guys
big Griffey
together.
fan?
But you can't put the steroids guys next to Todd. That's
He's a steroids guy.
he's not a steroids guy.
I think we should save that wall for the Denver guys.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be all Denver guys. So,
Okay, we'll put Conseco over here.
but you got to put them all together so everyone knows, because otherwise it's gonna look like everyone's fucking. That's why I thought maybe put Todd there and then put the steroids guys on that wall.
The wall of roids.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
You don't have to put those guys up at all,
No,
Colin. I just
no,
brought
no.
them because it's funny that they're out.
Let's wait on that. Let's get back to the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, you know what? You can throw those out for all I care. I don't
Oh
give
no.
a shit.
Well,
Fuck no.
Conseco in a Rays uniform is.
Roger Clemens.
I'll go for some good money, I think. Are you guys ready to rock this?
Roger.
All right, what's happening with the Rockies?
I'm gonna be shooting staples at you guys for the rest of the show.
Milwaukee's beating the Dodgers again.
Good.
That's good news.
Yeah. Looks like it's still 2-2.
Anytime the Dodgers.
All right, shut the fan off, and I'm gonna do a
Yeah, no doubt.
critique read.
You know, the Rockies are tied for the second wild card spot as of today.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, they're in the playoffs
Mhm.
with a one-game playoff to play a one-game playoff.
Right.
It's not a problem, this whole one-game playoff.
Yeah, I don't like it, but
Yeah.
It's not the postseason. I don't consider
It is.
It's the postseason.
it's
It is postseason. It is literally
It's stupid that
postseason.
it's a one-game postseason playoff, but it is that.
It's also still more impressive than sneaking into the playoffs in the NFL or the NBA. Being an 8 seed and
It's really hard to make it in the MLB.
yeah, still
Oh,
hard.
ring them up.
All right, you guys ready to rock this shit?
Yeah, read and then music.
Okay, you do it.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Are we going? It's to sports now, right?
Sports, of course, it's
Oh,
sports.
geez.
Sports.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, you ready? Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay.
Sportique is where scooters come from, and a scooter is something you gotta have, especially if you're going to downtown Denver. There's no better way to park and get into the game at Coors Field than with a scooter from Sportique Scooters. 50cc machines, park at a bike rack for free. No motorcycle license is needed, no license plates. Ride it in the bike lane. It's awesome. You got to check out Sportique Scooters. Their super showroom at 160 South Broadway. Sportique, where scooters come from. Yeah! Oh, man. There's never enough season for sports.
Oh, I love sports.
Woo!
I love it.
Yeah, baby.
Come on, give it up.
Sports! Rockies 2-2 in St. Louis, giving the Cardinals all they can ask for.
Has someone been using these mics? It smells
No.
like aftershave or something.
Spano must have been in here.
Really? You
Yeah, did your car?
don't let Spano in here, do you?
No.
Spano in here anymore.
No, his mic always smelled like spaghetti at the old Mile High
The
Sports.
spaghetti.
Bread to the span.
Yes, the spaghetti.
Always with the
It
drama.
was like talking about he was Italian, and I was like, Spano, I thought you were Greek for the longest time. That's like a Greek name.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck
Totally
is
a
this
Greek
Italian
name.
shit, dude? So God bless you, Spano. You're a good dude. Love you.
God bless.
You know how the kids do the floss, the floss and everything?
Oh yes.
So when I was telling you earlier, I was on vacation. There's some just real intense Phase 10 games that go on with my
What is Phase 10?
Phase 10 is this card game where you have to build these certain orientations of cards, and if you do it, you get to go on to the next one. If you don't, you get stuck. And it's really cool. It's a really good game.
Do you use a standard 52 card deck? No, okay,
Use
it's a card
special deck. Yeah. And so I was like, every time I would win, I'd go out, I'd win a phase, I'd like have some special dance or saying to do, and so I did my own floss, and so my kids really liked it. So you know what the floss is?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yes.
So here's mine.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. They
It's
love
awful.
it. Yeah, it became the new dance. So everyone was doing that.
That's basically humping.
Yeah,
It's a humping
and so I figured that out because once my kids start doing it, they're going like this.
I was going to say that, no, that's always been a dance. That's the oldest
It's
dance.
it's the oldest.
So
dance.
you hypersexualized your children's
I
youth.
did. I really fucked up there. So, speaking of sexual antics, Colin
Taylor McGregor.
is it not Taylor McGregor? Colin is very outspoken anti-Vance Joseph guy.
Oh, I hate the guy. I
And
hate
with
him.
the Broncos starting training camp, I'd be remiss in not mentioning a little bit of training camp talk. We got to talk about the Broncos.
Got to talk a little Broncos.
We got to talk a little Broncos, but
Kind
here's
of like on the fan, they go, "Don't worry, we're going to talk about the Rockies at the top of the next hour.
Any minute.
Stick around."
it'll be for 27 seconds, but other than that, we're going to get to it. So,
They're
no,
pretty good, aren't they? Yeah. All right, back with the Broncos.
I don't expect you to like Vance Joseph, and I think he's a bad coach, and I can't wait till he's out of here because I think he's not a very good coach, and I think they're gonna be better than people think. They're gonna limp into a pretty good record, but I think as soon as somebody better comes along, they're gonna jettison him because they know he sucks. With that said, I think and by all means continue your campaign of terror on him. I'm just telling you that I think what he did, what he's accused of doing, I think that holding that over his head at this point is kind of beating your head against a wall.
Only because, I mean, why is it? Why is it? How is it that Kevin Spacey can be denigrated, can be sent out, launched
I
into
agree.
space?
Why does Al Franken not have a job? Yet Vance Joseph. does?
Hey, Al Franken was like, "Oh, you got me. I better resign." And then these Republican assholes will be like, "Oh, I'm staying here till you fucking drag me out." So no, I'm not saying anything what he did was excusable. I'm just saying that
Obviously, the team has moved on. The media has moved on.
Definitely.
Everybody's moved on, except the women whose boners, on whom he rubbed those.
And I'm not
boners.
saying what he did wasn't wrong. I'm saying in the grand scheme of things, compared to what other people have lost
John
their
Elway, for
jobs
example.
lost their jobs over, his can be chalked up to being like a dumb young asshole. And I mean, he was in his 30s, wasn't he? His 30s.
He was in his early 30s.
It's inexcusable. It's horrible. But what I'm saying is that you're going to ruin your enjoyment. I think you already have ruined your enjoyment of the Broncos, dwelling on that.
I can only enjoy watching them lose. That's all. I am actively
I
rooting for them to lose the first
saw
4
you
games.
say that, and I don't think you should do that because I think you derive a lot of pleasure from watching the Broncos.
I do.
And if you're rooting for them to luse, it's going to make you miserable. Now, I want him to be gone. Trust me, and
He won't be gone unless they.
It's true, and I don't think they're going to lose. I think they're going to be better than you think.
If Case
So-
Keenum goes down with a knee injury, and
Oh, then they'll be
doomed.
bad. Then they'll be
They're
bad.
doomed.
Yeah, then they're
they will
screwed.
lose every single game.
Then they're screwed. Then they're screwed. That's a whole nother topic. They need a better backup quarterback. But I'm
Colin
for
Kaepernick.
your mental well-being, Colin.
That's the starting quarterback.
I'm not asking you to drop it. I'm not asking you to excuse what he
But
did.
you're worried about me as a person.
I'm worried about you. I want your enjoyment.
I mean, that first game is coming. That Seattle game's coming, regardless. And I want to be able to cheer on the Broncos. I see where you're coming from.
Listen, Drew, and you can back this up. When you're viewing sports, and we were talking about the one of the Osunas that went to Houston. You sometimes have to separate your real world feelings for what you're watching, and you have to go like, well, I can't now. If Reno's a big Houston Astros fan, he can't totally check out on the Astros because he's got one guy who's a shithead. There's probably lots of shitheads on the team. We know there's one.
Oh, can you imagine by percentage how many players on the Broncos are actually shitheads?
Oh yeah, it's horrible. Oh, yeah, it's
60
terrible.
plus.
So we all know that you have to separate your feelings from these individuals if you want to enjoy the sport and enjoy the team. And if you get too wrapped up to it, and again, not saying you need to excuse Vance Joseph or forget about what he's accused of, because it's still pretty shitty. You just have to divorce yourself from the players and the coaching staff just to enjoy the actual product on the field.
Well, I've been starting to hear some things about John Elway too, where I'm just like, oh my god.
Like he was banned from Shotgun Willis?
That one. Yeah. Did you hear what he was presumably banned for?
I saw that, and I think you got to get Gil Whiteley on that to investigate because he'll know.
For the listeners who aren't familiar, it's for heating up quarters with a cigarette lighter until they were too hot to handle and then chucking them at dancers. Now, is he guilty of this crime?
Allegedly.
Who knows? But who makes a thing like that up?
It's pretty fucked up. And Elway, when he was young and when he was like early in his days of playing, he has a pretty notorious reputation for tearing shit up.
Well, there was a lawsuit at his car dealership too, and
Well, he puked on Jeff Morton. Remember that?
He knocked Jeff Morton down.
And then vomited.
And no, he did not vomit, but he knocked him down, and Jeff got kind of bloody. And when Jeff's grandfather said, "Hey, man, you knocked my kid down," he's like, "Fuck you," because he was all drunk.
And then puked on him.
I don't think he
That
puked
did
on him.
happen?
No, I don't think that's. Let's not get sued here, Scott.
Clearly, something happened to him.
So he's got to pass. So I think you need to put in a call to Gil Whiteley and run that by him and see what he says.
Get this on solid ground.
Yeah. So,
sure.
But anyway, I'm thinking of you, Colin. I want you to enjoy your Broncos. I know you love your Broncos. That's your stories, and I think your fixation on Vance Joseph, while justified, I think is going to ruin your.
It is sullying my enjoyment.
It's going to sully your enjoyment.
Speaking of which,
I get that.
speaking of sullying my enjoyment, I texted you earlier this week. I was so disappointed to find out Kathy Saban has no ass.
See,
She's got no ass.
I don't know.
Was that a segue from John Elway? Is that what we?
Well, there is a connection there. Definitely a connection there. But no, I was disappointed. She's a little skinny. She's a little bit skinny.
But she's tall, though, right?
She is tall. Yeah, she's beautiful, beautiful woman. I've had a lifelong crush on Kathy Saban.
Well, look,
but I actually saw a picture of her in jeans, and I was
again. Let's now back to Vance Joseph. Let's not degrade women in a way that we're
right now. I'm totally
exactly
joking.
now you're just as bad as Vance
All
Joseph.
right, I'm going to scratch Taylor off my.
Let's leave Taylor off the topic list. So. Taylor McGregor, that easy on the eyes. I think she does a very good job.
She's getting better.
She screws up a little bit once in a while, but I think she's very affable. I think she's doing a good job with it. What was the pitcher? I think he pitches for the A's, and he tweeted out something about why doesn't Jenny Cavnar have a job instead of these clowns? What was that? What's his name?
Oh, that was a pitcher. I saw the tweet.
Oh shit! I got to look it up. I think he's a pitcher, and I think he must have played here. I can't think of his name, but he's on the A's, and I think he gets hurt a lot or something. I don't know. Maybe
Brett Anderson.
I think it's Brett Anderson. Yeah, and he said something about why doesn't Jenny have his job instead of these clowns?
Instead of Jeff Houston? No question.
I know.
No question. That's a slam dunk.
Maybe
She's really smart.
Very smart.
Oh, she's awesome.
So sharp.
I just think, you know what, she's good at her job. You bring her in, and then it opens up. Okay, sure, you're going to get a bunch of fucking chauvinists and people who are commenting on women's asses and stuff. You're going to get those guys who aren't going to be happy with it. But I think you're going to open up a whole new generation of people who will be like, oh yeah, Jenny Cavnar, she's great. I think I don't know why they don't do that. I mean, maybe we discussed earlier. There's somebody in their ear all the time, so somebody's pulling the strings who thinks those guys should be in there. It's probably obviously more complicated than just yanking someone out and saying, it's your job now. But I don't know.
They did it to Helmer.
True.
Yanked him right out.
I guess it's a pretty cruel business, right? They can do whatever they want.
You know what doesn't get talked about enough at that, though? Because it's like, yeah, there are a lot of people who would love to hear Jenny's voice, a lot of young women who would love to hear Jenny's voice. But you know what else isn't talked about? She's not 60 years old either. She's, in her 30s. She's somebody with a different perspective on the game. She's a little more savvy with the numbers. She's somebody who wouldn't sound totally out of place talking about catch probability and launch angle. So if you want someone to do those things, don't force it into the mind of somebody who doesn't think about the game that way. Let someone who does think about the game that way take over the broadcast, because Jenny Kapnar is brilliant and an incredibly hard worker. So I've long been an advocate of her since before she ever stepped into the booth. I wrote an article back when I was still with Purple Row about how she needed to get more of a run. And it's weird, those kind of traditions in baseball and it's not just like misogyny or whatever else you want to put in it. It's like it's kind of almost the same force. It's like when the bases were loaded and nobody was out the other day, why did Bud Black in the 7th inning hand the ball to Scott Oberg instead of Adam Ottavino? Because Adam Ottavino's his 8th inning guy. It's almost the same mentality.
Gotta stick by the book.
Right. Right. And so baseball could use a little
And
shaking up.
you knew all three of those runs were coming in. The second they handed him the ball. And they did. And the second Jake McGee took the mound in the 10th, you knew it was done, right?
That's it. That's how I feel anytime I see Brian Shaw with a baseball in his hand. I mean, we're doomed. We're doomed. Why is Brian Shaw still on the active roster?
Because they're paying him too much money.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you want the most cold answer, the reason is because he's in year one of a 3-year contract that's worth a decent amount of money, and you're not just going to pay the guy that money to go play for someone else. It's the same reason why they didn't cut ties with Ian Desmond when he was really struggling the first 2 months of the season. People were like, DFA him, just get him out of here. It's like, he's in year 2 of a 5-year deal. They're not going to pay him the better part of $60 million to play for somebody else.
But I feel Desmond I know Shaw had some success in Cleveland, but it's
Shaw was one of the most consistent pitchers in baseball for 5-6 years.
I feel like I'm very happy that Desmond's.
Hold on, we're going to talk about Desmond.
What?
This is a
Desmond throwdown.
This is topic that's very close to Drew's heart because
I'm going to body slam everybody.
He was vindicated. He was very vocal about it. He was very cruel to me on Twitter.
So
we're going to talk about that when we're coming back. So we got to take a break, and we'll be right back.
It all happened too fast for me there.
Sometimes life comes at you fast. I have to go pee.
Oh, 3-2. What happened?
Homer.
No, really?
A couple of ground balls that got through. And that's what Scott was talking about. It's like that ground ball's a foot to the left. It's a double play. It's still 2-2. It got up the middle. The guy scores the run. You got to take Freeland out. That's the hard time about putting the ball in play.
I thought it was a solo home run.
Oh, no, it was from this inning a second ago.
Those
Those runs are still charged to Freeland. Singles, just those ground balls. Sometimes the ground balls don't go to the infielders and they get through. Come on, Scotty.
That sounded an awful lot like fandom.
I've written like 4 articles about how I think Scott Oberg is going to be a real thing. So sometimes you're pulling for your own predictions more than anything. At this point, it's like, but I said you were good. Be good. I said you were good. He's been okay. He's been all right.
Is Oberg in now?
Yeah.
So he'll give up these 2 runs. Like it's a thing with the relievers in the 7th inning. It's like, oh, you put those 2 guys on?
The 7th has been rough.
They're not going to count against me. I'll let them in, but no one against me.
Yeah, but also if he's got a lot of people on base, I think that's a high stress situation.
All 3 came in. It's just he walked 1 in, right?
Only 2 came in.
But he walked the first one, right? That was a couple days ago.
Walks.
Anytime you inherit bases loaded, nobody out, getting out of there with.
Yeah. That's when Anderson
walked the bases
the
loaded.
3 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got to go 6 to get a quality
Popped him
start?
up there. Yeah.
I'm not going to get it from
So he's not quite going to get his quality start tonight.
Dallas Keuchel.
Just needs one more out there.
I'm battling in fantasy against you,
I
John.
know. I don't match up well with you. It's always a.
Well, last time we played, you beat me like 13-0.
Oh, I did.
yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I went in
That was one of those. That was my moving week from
Yeah.
Arizona.
Wow,
you know?
see, there you go. So
I wasn't-
usually I don't match up well with you.
I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention, but at some point I'm like, oh, I need to really like step it up here, and I was so far back in every category, I just said,
I'm going for it. This is my year, I think.
We'll see. You know, I'll probably end up in the 8th spot because you and I. Will
You're in the 7th right now.
You don't want me in the 8th spot.
No, I don't want to see you again. That's the whole thing. I don't want to see you again at all.
So I'll play a lot differently as with like 2 weeks.
That's like there's people you don't want to see, and it's like when I won my 3 championships, I had to beat you,
faced me in one, yeah.
and I had to beat Jennifer in 2 of them, and I was like, fucking hey.
Man, and ours was that one was really close. Like it was, I think we were only like 4 points away, and one of them, I forgot who it was, but he had a touchdown. It was called back. It was total bullshit, and I'm like, I mean, whatever. It's what it is. You just throw it out there and see what happens. Can't say I'm an Oberg guy.
I like Oberg. I think he's played better.
He's got a good fastball, right? Gets it over 100.
He's got to lock this shit down right now. What I'm enjoying is just being able to watch these games and like kind of like
Is that DeJong up on hitting?
being very like you have to be very like just being into them and like
See, this is
hanging
where-
on every pitch.
And this is where fantasy comes up. Because Paul DeJong is up, and
Yeah.
he's on my team. Like, I really would love to see him strike out for the Rockies' sake. But if he does jack a 3-run home run,
Then,
Yeah. Hey, that's how it goes. You got to.
What's
I
that?
thought last week, John, I thought you were gonna fucking slaughter me. I'm actually making 5-7.
Yeah, you did come back a
Your
little
team
bit.
is good.
I tell you, I'm going for it this year. I'm going for it.
It's really good.
you
I got
for it this year?
I'm going for it, dude. Yeah, I'm fucking going for it. Yeah, I've decided.
Decided you're gonna try.
I've decided I'm gonna fucking really, really make a move.
Okay, good. Good for you.
Yep. Thank you. Well, no, we can talk about. I don't know if we'll get to fantasy, but like I just started listening because the Audible Football Guys puts out their they do their preseason watch list and they cover every team, which is really good because then you're like, oh fuck, I didn't know so and so is on this team now. If you're not paying attention, so it's kind of good to follow up that way. But yeah, there's a lot. I got a lot of reading and catching up to do before I can draft effectively. Drew, do you play fantasy football?
I used to play all the time. I haven't for the last couple of years. I just didn't have a real league to play in. I've been following the NFL as closely the last few years.
Join our league.
Yeah.
Kick Peterson
Look at
out, right? Peterson.
I don't know any of the young
Oh,
guys anymore. I'd have to take a crash course on the last 2 or 3 years of young players.
Alvin Kamara's really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't even know who the fuck that is.
You don't know who that is?
No. See, that's how right, yeah. I'm out of touch, man. I used to be really good at fantasy football, though, because I had a roommate who, fucking lived and breathed college football.
So you knew all the
And
good.
so he would tell me all that stuff, so I'd get an insight on the new guys. And then I watched, I used to have the package. And I watched football, and I think I'm okay at analyzing sports. And I go, that guy's an athlete. That guy can play. I always go with athletes. That's my bias. I hope the guy's got a brain for playing because I can recognize a dude that's 6'4", 240 with a 4.5 40 and with some leaping ability. I'm like, I hope he figures it out because that dude's a beast.
then you're good.
I will say this off mic, but of course that's going. I think that's my problem with Sean McGee. Because they're big fat guys.
Yeah.
They're big fat guys.
McGee is
And,
maybe in slightly better shape than you
like-
think. Sean's a weird guy. I love Sean in real life, but he's a weird guy. He's got his name tattooed down his spine. It says the word Shaw,
Wow.
like
that
in
would hurt.
Japanese
Interesting.
writing.
I didn't know that. I guess we don't ever see his back, but
He seems like some guy that would have a lot of backs. You know?
see the thing about football
Sure enough.
and fantasy hockey, the difference between
Obi got out of
there
that.
you go. There you go. See, Oberg got it. Oberg got it, Scott.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Is that in football you can have a really
Stealing
good
that.
athlete. He's gonna steal
Stealing.
it.
Yeah.
You can have a really good athlete, but if he's in a bad fucking system on a bad team,
With a bad
it
offensive
doesn't
line.
work.
Right.
And the same thing with hockey. You can have the best player in hockey, but if he's got shitty line mates, you're not going to get
Right.
much.
It's like one of my favorite athletes, across all sports, was Barry Sanders, and that was like his whole career.
Yeah.
Right? Like, man, this guy's amazing to watch. Too bad nobody around him is any good.
But baseball, it's like, well, if a guy's a good hitter, he's a good hitter. He's going to get you points.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. So
yeah.
I really like baseball fantasy. It's pretty great.
I do too. It's fun.
I would like to attend a draft one of these days, and I think my prospects will be better.
Maybe you should work on that.
yeah,
Well, did you auto draft your baseball team?
yeah, last year too.
But
But I won last year with an auto draft, and I auto drafted again this year, which I don't think is the right strategy. But if I could pull it off 2 years in a row with an auto draft, my team is not as good.
You're
this
not.
year.
Remember, I'm going for it.
Yeah.
I'm going for it. this
I
year.
got lucky last year because JD Martinez was flipped to the Diamondbacks and then just went like all
Am I
worldly at that
crazy?
point in
Yeah.
time. It's at like
That was
Four
nuts.
Jackson Day or
He
something.
went
He
nuclear.
had 4 home runs in one game.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yes, he did. JD Martinez is something else. In prime time.
Yeah. So,
All right, ready to hit the fourth
Oh.
quarter?
Yeah, I'll do
Feel the
mutiny. Mutiny time.
Love that shirt, by the way. That Navy shirt. It's cool. I still want that.
Oh, hell's yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
This is the view from the view
Dude,
from the upper deck. at Coors Field.
I was just in a building today off Brighton, brand new building, and as I had to park in the back to get to it because the parking was really bad, there was like all these little tiny houses that just
I
are
know exactly what you're talking about.
nestled right in there, and they're just some dude
They're
lives
just
there,
holding out.
holding
Yeah.
out, and I'm just thinking that guy. I mean, he's got to be able to sell it for a fucking fortune now. And I'm sure he's just like waiting. He's like, I don't need to go anywhere, but he can fucking, I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine what that would, I mean, it's like there's a huge parking garage and there's his house right there, right next to it. And I'm thinking like someone could do something with it. So I can't imagine he hasn't been offered like $1 million fucking dollars or maybe like 500 grand for just that spot, you know? I don't know.
I don't know, John.
That's crazy.
Mm,
I want the market is.
it's Brighton.
Dude, have you been down there?
It's insane.
Brighton Boulevard?
It's insane.
It's
Oh,
crazy.
talking
you
about
know-
Brighton Boulevard, not Brighton.
and you know-
Brighton
Boulevard.
And you know who owned a whole bunch of properties along Brighton Boulevard?
Feinstein.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And he is just. I believe Andrew Feinstein's going to run for mayor.
Good, I'll vote for him.
Governor. Governor.
You think so?
Nah, I go for mayor first.
He'll go for mayor first.
Oh, I'll vote for
We'll go
him.
the
Fuck yeah,
Hitler route.
dude. He's awesome.
I'll join Andrew's campaign.
Hell yeah. All right.
I haven't seen that guy in a couple of years, but
I
whatever.
haven't
I
seen
don't
him
care.
in a while.
He's
In
awesome.
a while. You ready to go?
Yeah,
I'm ready to
man.
go. Mike's
Let's
ready.
do
Mike's
this.
hot. Mike's hot.
Mike's hot.
Go.
If you're going to be traveling along South Broadway, you want to make a stop at Mutiny Information Cafe right there at Broadway and Ellsworth. Absolutely the most uniquely Denver store, maybe in all of Denver. It's a used bookstore. It's a record store. It's pins, patches, T-shirts. I'm wearing a T-shirt from Mutiny Information Cafe right now. It's awesome. They put ice cubes made of coffee in the iced coffee. You guys have got to check it out. Please let Matt and Jim know that we sent you down. Tell them the South Stand sent you at Mutiny Information Cafe.
Dance, John.
Is this the dead?
Hell yeah, it's a dead. What's a ton of dead lately?
You've been listening to a ton of Grateful Dead lately?
Hey, every day.
What's this
Hey.
from?
This is from a album called "Smiling on a Cloudy Day." I have the record. I've been jamming this one. Red vinyl. It's beautiful.
You know what? I like Grateful Dead.
I love them too.
Yeah.
That late '60s, early '70s stuff. So into it.
Only the Jerry stuff.
Hey, Oh, totally. Bobby,
and the Jerry
Bobby
stuff.
blows.
Another good reminder that you've got to be able to separate the quality of music from the quality of the fans.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Kinda like
Floyd and
kinda like
everybody-
sports.
It's exactly like sports.
There's a lot of examples of that for sure. I always said like because I listened to the Dead because I had to listen to the Dead because my brother lived in this house and we'd go there and party in college. It was right off of
House.
no
Remington.
the one of the big streets. I'll think of it later.
Shields.
But so we'd go there and party, and
Start
they had a keg fridge and everything, you know. But so part of the thing about being there and partying is that one of his roommates would just play nothing but fucking live Dead recordings from fucking the ages, right? And we had to listen to it, and we'd be like, "Hey man, can we put something else on?" He's like, "That's fine, man." He goes, "Just wait till the end of the song."
And
we'd
the
be like,
song's like
There is no
"Okay."
end of the song.
Everybody party some more. And then, hey man, when's the end of the song? Just wait to the end of the song.
Yeah.
And it just fucking kept going and going and going. So, you know, that was my experience with the Dead. But the whole thing was I was always like, I like the Jerry stuff. I hate the other guy. And I realized it's just like Fugazi because there's the Ian MacKaye stuff and then there's
MacKaye.
the other guy.
Ian MacKaye.
Yeah, I grew up knowing MacKaye. So.
Well, yeah, but he'll yell at you if you say it. So
Okay,
it's an Ian MacKaye thing.
That's great.
That's what I'll do.
But so the other dude was like the other guy in the Dead. It was kind of like, his stuff wasn't as good.
Bobby. I don't like Bobby.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. And I really don't like the Dead outside of like after 1976, maybe. Like anything before that. Gold.
I love Touch of Grey. It's a great song.
That was like 80s.
It was
Dude,
90s.
American
early
Beauty.
90s.
American Beauty is a fucking great record.
Fantastic.
It has a fucking great record straight through. It's really good. So, good stuff. Good stuff, gang.
I dig.
What do you got, Colin? Got anything?
Well, I wanted to ask Drew. I'm a devotee of the Sports Talk Radio, and the other day, your friend and mine, James Marilat, at Altitude, said he thought this was the best, position by position, the best Rockies team of all time. And I wanted to bounce that off.
Talent-wise, I agree. I mean, coming into the season, I thought that. And so it actually surprises me to hear James say that. So
He's a little bit head over heels with the team, actually. Right
Hey,
now.
good on him. I know he was a little doom and gloom last year because we had some fun at his expense on Twitter because
A lot of
that.
people
Most people do.
Yeah, that's what Twitter is for. But I cannot disagree with that. Coming into the season, I said, and it's easy for me to say this right now, I understand. But coming into the season, I said, look, the game is starting pitching. And this group of starting pitchers is more talented than any group of starting pitchers they've ever had. You can talk about their inexperience in the postseason. There's a fair argument to be made that none of these guys have done it in the postseason yet. Fine. John Gray, Tyler Anderson, Kyle Freeland, Germán Marquez, Antonio Senzatella, these guys are more talented than any group the Rockies have ever had, and they're all, each one of those guys, trending upward.
Yeah, they're young.
Yeah,
This whole team is young.
yeah,
It's really exciting.
yeah.
And it's sort of a homegrown.
Charlie Blackmon's the old guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
at like 32.
Yeah.
Well, Cargo is by a few months.
Oh, right.
A few months old.
So do we have to give a lot of credit to the front office?
Yeah, absolutely. And even, dare I say, as John was talking about earlier, the front office that was here beforehand. Look, Dan O'Dowd is the reason that Nolan Arenado is on this team. The reason Charlie Blackmon, Carlos Gonzalez, Trevor Story. He drafted all these guys and or traded for DJ LeMahieu was one of his best trades he ever made. He gave up Tyler Colvin and the third baseman, Ian Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah, for DJ LeMahieu.
And that was all
A multiple-time Gold Glove, and that's all Dan O'Dowd. Yeah, but what was Jeff Bridic's job at the time? Why did he become the GM?
Bringing him his coffee. That was his job, right?
it was a real big coffee guy. He was the director of development for the young guys during that time when Dan O'Dowd was drafting John Gray and David Dahl and Ryan McMahon and Kyle Freeland and all of these guys who have come into the organization. They've been very patient with the draft and develop. They've been very patient at trade deadlines when people are going, oh, just move your prospects for X guy. And every year they've said no. And they've had chances to trade away John Gray as a prospect or Kyle Freeland as a prospect any one of these guys who are helping them now. And I think that they're in the midst of a true renaissance for Colorado baseball. If they can figure out a way to convince Nolan Arenado to stay on this team, and I think it's 60-40 that they do.
Oh,
Well, listen,
so I might be getting that tattoo after.
this is a next year conversation, right? Because now all of a sudden you got all the young kids that are up. Maybe Rogers is up. You got
It's
Mann.
definitely a next year. This
But
team
this
is
is a
being
team
built. This team is
on
being
the
built
rise.
for the future.
Yeah.
We know they're probably not going to win a World Series right now.
But they could. That's the thing. If they make the postseason, what team can't they beat?
Oh, there's a few. They couldn't beat Boston, the
Houston.
Yankees.
Oh, well, fine. Well, out of the
Houston.
NL, who in the NL can't they beat?
Maybe the Dodgers.
They could beat the Dodgers.
We'll see.
Oh, absolutely. They
D-bags.
can. Well, no, I think to Scott's question is not, would you take them in a series against the Dodgers necessarily, but would you be shocked if they beat
No.
the Dodgers in a 7-game
No,
series?
no,
I wouldn't be. The Houston Astros are the only team, and they just basically played them even over a 2-game set.
Yeah.
Well, that's the crazy thing. Like right now, they're in St. Louis. I mean, the Cardinals are good, and they're giving them. They might lose
The
tonight.
Cardinals aren't very.
They're giving them all, but they're giving them all they can take. They're giving them all they can handle.
And
On the road
Rockies
and at home.
historically have been
Uh-oh.
terrible
Br-
in St. Louis.
Brian Shaw's in.
Oh, look out.
Oh,
Here he
no.
Here he comes.
Hold on.
Try to avert your eyes, gang. Well, I think it's part of the thing is everybody goes, oh, now the Yankees can go. Fuck, let's just get rid of these prospects, get these good players because we're gonna probably take a stab at it, right? The Rockies know. Well, if we get there and we can get, it's like the NHL. You get into the playoffs and your goalie gets hot, you have a chance. The Rockies are like, we have a chance, sure, whatever, but we're not going to mortgage the future for
Right.
that for right now.
And this year, really, the Dodgers didn't make all these moves to win the NL West, right? I mean,
No.
they're probably going to win the NL West. Rockies will probably get a wild card, but it's one game, and
Well,
you can't mortgage a future over one game.
What's hilarious about the Dodgers is they spend all that money and make all those trades, and they're still going to fucking lose. It's going to be awesome. But anyway,
They didn't make their pitching better. Their pitching has been their problem. They got a
It's the
shortstop
same thing.
and a second baseman. They're good.
sure.
Manny Machado and Brian Dozier are very
Oh,
good
yeah, they're really
baseball
good.
players, but they get to bat 3 times a game.
Yeah, it's not going to matter if you're
Yeah,
pitching.
right.
But I like that because the Avalanche have done this too. They basically said, "Hey, look, we're not gonna sell off all these guys. We're gonna keep this core." And I was a #1 critic of that. I thought, "Oh, get rid of these guys. Get rid of these guys." They kept it together. They built this fucking team that maybe not this year, but after that, you're gonna see some success with the Avalanche. Same thing with the Rockies. They're gonna do it, and all of a sudden they're gonna have all these guys, and they're gonna be like, "Now we're ready to roll." I think that's why they didn't sell off all these guys because they were just like, look, it's not going to matter. They will never say this, but they're basically like, it's not going to matter anyway. So if we get rid of these guys, it's going to fuck us in the end.
As a season ticket holder,
Yeah.
I want them to be competitive every single year.
I hear they're competitive now, and they're going to be competitive. But
I don't want to see like a Miami Marlins or Florida Marlins kind of
Right,
scenario where
right.
they win the World
Right,
Series
where they use
and
the
then sell
process.
everybody off.
Yeah.
well, you're not going to get that. But we talked about the Nuggets earlier, and the Nuggets, unless they get like a superstar or someone develops into a superstar and they can compete in that realm, it's never going to happen.
And they'll be good for 2 years.
They'll be good for 2 years.
And that's what's going to happen. Eventually, the Nuggets will win a title because somebody came here, and then that person will leave.
The Nuggets are going to be really good
This
3
world.
years. Right when Golden
They're
State
gonna be-
Warriors are dismantling, they're going to be incredible.
Right. That'll be right when the Lakers start to peak again.
I want to switch
I
gears
don't think
slightly, and I want to talk to Drew about Ian Desmond because
Oh, I love that.
Ian Desmond, much maligned for a lot of the early season, and Drew's take is that he's saying, hey, he's good, he'll come around, and everyone was like, oh, get rid of him, and it's like, of course you're not going to get rid of him because you paid him all this fucking money. So, I knew that they're not going to get rid of him. I'm curious as to why he didn't maybe go down to the minors for a little while, but he turned around. He's playing well, and Drew got to toot his own horn, if you will, and let everyone know that he was in on that early and said, hey, Desmond's going to come around. He's good, and you'll see the results of it. I mean, we all kind of knew he was going to come around at some point. He had to, right? So, Drew, go ahead. Toot your own horn, fucking take your victory lap. Let everybody know how prescient you are.
It's true. It's everything you just said is accurate.
Yeah, nothing to add.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things again, going back to the football mentality of the town or what's going on there. Because with Ian Desmond, you don't forget how to play baseball at 31, 32 years old. Guys go through slumps. Things happen. You can also take a look at a guy's process and be like, well, he's seeing the fastball or he's not picking up on the slider. There are all these kind of little things that I was looking at when Ian Desmond was struggling. But ultimately, the formula beyond his contract was always this. You can bench Ian Desmond in early May and hand the job to Ryan McMahon, who we've talked about a little bit. And if you do that, and Ryan McMahon, it turns out, is not ready for the big leagues, you've ruined Ryan McMahon, and you've ruined Ian Desmond.
And you've ruined Desmond, yeah.
You just benched a guy, and you've just said loud and clear, we've got no faith in you. In May of a 162-game season, we're going to set you on the bench. Instead, they continue to have faith in Desmond. He starts to turn it around. They can go back and forth with McMahon because he's a young guy. He starts to turn it around. And now instead of having neither, they've got both.
Yeah, and they're pushing each other.
Yeah,
awesome.
And they're pushing each other. Ian Desmond also, and this is another thing so underrated in the game of baseball. We were talking, I can't remember if this was in between during the break or we were talking during the show, but I was saying I love athletes, dude. Guys that got instincts, guys that could run.
That was my comment
on
Sean McGee. Like Desmond's an athlete.
Yeah. And there was a play this year Jake McGee, where Ian Desmond.
Sean McGee is the guy that works down at
good old Sean.
I said Shaw and McGee.
Sean McGee.
Sean
McGee.
It's a lefty-righty two-headed monster.
Two guys, Shaw and
Sean McGee.
Nice.
But there was a play earlier in the season where Ian Desmond, he's at first base, 1 out. Carlos Gonzalez hits one of those sinking liners to left field. Desi goes first to third because the play's right in front of him. You can tell the left fielder's not quite going to get to it, so he can use his speed to get to third base. Cargo, seeing all of that, goes to take second to try to force the left fielder to throw him out at second. Desmond keeps his head on a swivel, looks back at second. The ball skips away from the second baseman for half a minute. He hops up from third, trots home to score the tying run. There's no statistic. There's nothing you can look at in the box score. All Ian Desmond did there was athlete, play good sports. Sports. That's all he did there was sports good. And that's so underrated in the game of baseball because we can measure so much. People forget the importance of the little things.
All right, Drew Goodman.
All right, Tracy.
And I hate that
Ringlesby.
crap. I do, and I know. And
Tracy Ringlesby with his eye test. I see what I got. Stats won't tell you that, buddy.
Sometimes you do actually have to watch the baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. There's
Desmond,
merit to that.
Desmond was so bad.
He was terrible.
He was so.
He was fucking terrible.
But he wasn't as bad as people thought. He had in that first month when he's hit
bad,
190 with 7 home runs. 5 of those 7 home runs won them baseball games. Right. And he was better in the first month of this season than Paul Goldschmidt was.
That's true.
That's the nature of the game of baseball.
There was a point, though, when he had 38 strikeouts in 7 walks.
Yeah.
But he had 3 walks on Monday.
Yes,
it's insane. Yeah. My brother and I like to take him to the game, and we loved when Desmond's up. We're like, get a walk, Desmond! But it's a ball good eye, Desmond! And
walking here.
He's remember his first year in Colorado, Gerardo Parra walked 9 times. That season.
That's not good.
He walked 9 times. And then it was the first game of the next year, he walked 3 times in the first game. And everyone was like, he's got a third of the walks he did from a year ago in game 1. Baseball is weird.
That's exactly. It's weird. And that's why even we were talking little fantasy into the break. And it's kind of you're okay, this is going this way. This is not how I envisioned it because I had this figured out. But it's just wait a little bit, and it's going to swing back, as it always does. It always swings back.
When I first started playing fantasy baseball, that was one of the things that Zach Fogg said to me. He said, it's not fantasy football.
Yeah.
You can't play it the way you play. You can't add and drop and just give up on players the way you do in fantasy football. You got to ride it out, and that's kind of what we're talking about with Desmond.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And hey, I'm glad it's worked out because you know what, it would seem like a bad. It seemed like a bad.
It was nothing but strikeouts and ground balls for for a couple months. That's good.
Shifting gears again. Now that you're vindicated,
But I was right and you were wrong. That's fine.
I never said he should be DFA'd. I never say anything like that.
But Brian
And-
Shaw's broken, right?
Yeah,
That's
he
something
might
broken.
be, but-
Brian Shaw sucks.
My whole thing is that you retweeted some guy who was like, "Hey, where are all the haters at?" And I was like, "Fuck off." I was like, if you thought that he was just going to be terrible from here on out and was going to be out of baseball by the end of the season, then you don't understand what's going on here. And so I think everybody was like, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who thought that, and we're like, "Oh, this guy sucks. He's done." We can see that, okay, he's gonna bounce back because that's the whole thing. Guys go into slumps, they come out of it. It's just the nature of the game. So that was my thing with it. But anyway, shifting gears because we got to get out of here pretty soon. I did want to cover a little bit of DC movie stuff. But what if you've got something else, Colin? Lay it out.
Oh, I just wanted to say I'm looking forward to flannel season.
Oh yeah.
A couple nights ago, I was on my back porch late at night, like 8:39. It might have been Monday night, and I got a little chilly.
Yeah.
And I had to go inside and get my flannel on. I got my flannel shirt on and went back out to the porch and felt just perfect. And I was like, this is welcome. After July was brutal. We had a stretch of 94 to 98 degrees. It was 101 one day.
It was
nice.
It was. I get up early in the morning and I take the dogs out and I have to be out there with them because they're small and they don't want the huge hawk that hangs out in my yard to take them away. So early in the summer, I was like it's still kind of cool. It's kind of cool in the morning. So I have that sweet satin Rockies jacket that I scored.
That thing is dope.
So I keep it by the thing. But for a while there, I put it up because I was like, don't need it. Morning, it was so warm. It was great. This week, I needed the jacket again, so it's been nice and cool in the morning. So I'm thinking it's swinging back around. Now, don't get me wrong. All these people who want football season to come, they can fuck off.
Yes,
I want this to
Do not hasten winter.
Yeah, I want it to get hot again. I want it to be summer
August
again.
is right ahead.
Yep.
So.
We're in August now. We're already planning fantasy drafts and all that. So let's enjoy the heat for a little while longer, and then we can get into the cold because I do
love living in a state with seasons. I fall more in love, I think, with Colorado every day. I fucking love this place. When I got back from my trip with Reno Notaro to Mexico, I got to DIA and I got outside of DIA and I just went, oh God, thank you, Jesus. I'm so happy to be
Did
back.
your family go or was it just you?
No. It was a boys' weekend. And a quick note: there was a group of women in their early 30s and early 40s, late 30s, early 40s, staying in the same hotel we were, which was a very posh, very modern, very sexy motel. There's this group of women staying there.
Sexy motel.
Oh no, it was a sexy hotel, not a motel. No, like on the screen when we were checking in, there were these images, the big flat screen TV behind there, and one of the images was a couple showering together. I'm not kidding. So there was a very sexy vibe. So there are all these gals, and they have these matching shirts that said "Girls Weekend 2018." I'm just like, you might as well just raise your "fuck me" flag. Your shirt says "My husband's at home." That's what your shirt says.
That's true. Yeah, sounds like it'd be a heap of trouble for everyone involved.
Yes.
Yeah. Where was our invite, John?
Oh, I got invited.
You got invited.
Yeah, I got invited, but I was out of town. Otherwise, I would have been there. So these guys were texting me the whole time. They're like, "Hey, Reno was texting me the whole time. He was like concerned for Colin's health because Colin was fucking loaded, I guess."
I was loaded a lot. I got lost. I got completely lost. Could not find my hotel, and it's like one stretch of beach, and the hotel we were staying is like neon blue, and I couldn't find it. I even got in a cab and asked the cab driver to take me to the Hotel Carmen where we were staying at. Like, Hotel Carmen, please. He just dropped me off God knows where.
And he was like, it's right there. Oh, never mind. I'm gonna fucking take you somewhere else. So
Close enough.
that's awesome. Real quick, and then we can let you out of here, Drew. The Shazam movie looks like a pile of shit.
No, I'm in already. I think it looks awesome.
Oh my god!
But see, I'm in on DC.
Is Shaquille O'Neal
It's
in it?
not Shaquille O'Neal. No, I'm sorry. It's not Shaquille O'Neal. That's part of the reason why I'm not into it. Look, I haven't even watched the trailer. I've just seen the stills from it.
Oh, really? Check out the trailer.
I will not watch it.
Dude, watch it.
I will not watch it.
Watch it.
I've signed off. I might get dragged to
What
Aquaman.
superhero is in the Shazam movie? Is
It's-
Shazam a superhero?
It's
Yeah,
Shazam,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Or he's called
but,
Captain Marvel.
Oh, Captain
Well, that's the
Marvel.
whole. No, but there's
God.
there's
Now you're going to confuse everybody.
no, but there's several Captain Marvels. They
That's
span the different universes,
That's
Marvel and DC. So there's a female Captain Marvel, which comes out in February for Marvel, and that's
Right.
going to be kick ass. That's going to be really good. This
Taylor
is
McGregor in it?
no, but this is
No, but Brie Larson and Taylor McGregor are very similar.
yeah, they look kind of.
By the way, Taylor is awesome. Just so everyone knows,
I-
just like she's legit cool. She's legit. Just so everyone knows.
Told
That's
you.
good to know.
told you.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Anyway, so I won't be seeing that, but
Do it. No, I'll take. No, let's go together. Let's do
if
that.
you're paying,
I will buy you a ticket to go to Shazam, maybe to Aquaman. I'll pick one of those
no,
two.
I'm sure one of my kids is going to want to see Aquaman.
Okay.
So I think I'll probably end up. taking
Aquaman sounds cool.
Now, if you want DC movies to be more frolicking and more like Marvel movies, and more
listen, Rod,
jolly
listen,
and
Rod
bullshit.
Sharon, listen, Rod Sharon. This is not what I'm getting at. I tried to watch Justice League again. It was on cable, and I was just like, God, this sucked. Terrible movie.
Look, I am a defender of all the DC stuff.
I know you are.
I did not think Justice League was very good.
It's not very.
It's not. I thought Batman versus Superman was so underrated. I thought people disliked that movie for all the wrong fucking reasons, honestly. But Justice League was not good.
What's
So
the
I-
best?
so I
What's the
get it.
best Star Wars movie?
Star Wars.
Oh, don't even open up that can of worms. I like the new ones. People hate.
Oh, I love
The
them
new
all. I
ones.
love them all.
I
mean,
think
it's-
the new ones. I thought Last Jedi was the bomb. But like, you've got to like.
What
if you-
about Solo?
It was okay.
It was okay.
I haven't
okay.
seen it.
I agree. You
I
haven't
didn't
seen
even see
Solo?
it.
Really?
It was good. Check it out.
I'm
When
surprised.
it comes out on
I'll
whatever, check
watch
out.
it when it comes
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's got scenes worth seeing. The only thing that bothered me about Solo was like they started the movie with him. I thought I was going to watch a movie about a guy who becomes Han Solo, and it's like 15 minutes into the movie. He's Han Solo.
He's Han
Yeah, that's
Solo.
that's what I didn't like about it. Because and the guy who played him is like 30 years old.
He did a good job.
And I thought, why don't you make him a younger guy and kind of show his progress to
Dude.
what we know?
Lando was awesome.
Childish Gambino is Lando
Yeah, he's awesome.
Calrissian. So
Yeah.
go see Childish.
Okay,
He's
I'll
fine.
watch when it comes on video.
You watch
Anyway,
Atlanta? You guys watch
I
Atlanta?
do. Yeah,
Okay.
I watched the first season.
Everybody watch Atlanta.
Yeah, he's really good. At
It's
it. Yeah.
one of the best shows on television. Childish Gambino's a genius, and that's all I got.
It's good stuff. The last thing before we go is I've been watching. It's on Netflix. There's one season. It's called Age Gap Love, and it's all about very old people married to young people.
No, we got it. We understood.
You got it, okay, yeah.
The title pretty
Yeah.
much gave
And
it.
but it's funny because there's a lot of old guys with like a young wife, and for whatever reason they kind of hooked up. And then there's all these like old women with these young dudes who obviously and they show them playing video games, and all they want to do is just have a new mommy that they can play video games and then go fuck. It's really disturbing.
And then get their money when they die.
And they get their money when they die. So it's a good show. But
Hey man, my girlfriend's not listening to this, so I will say when I was 22, I dated a 43-year-old for
Wow!
a very short period of
Age
time.
Gap Love,
I'm just saying.
Divide by 2 and add 6. It's an easy rule.
hey, I understand the benefits.
There are some.
I understand the benefits.
Was she your teacher?
Yeah, right.
I was just saying.
No
teach-
comment.
No comment. Well, it's good stuff. Drew, thanks for coming in. I love the Rockies talk. It's excellent. We're all enjoying the great Rockies season. I just hope it's just an age of sustained excellence by the Rockies. As you said, it's very hard to win a World Series. We're seeing them play well. I think that's all we can ask for right now. If a World Series comes of it, awesome. That's great. It's good stuff, and we'll continue to read and see what you have to say, and we appreciate your coverage of it. Let everyone know where they can get you real quick.
Hey man, we're at BSN Denver or BSNRockies.com. You can find us also on Twitter. Same stuff at BSN Rockies. I'm at Drew Creasman, and Colin's right, man. We got to get you that tattoo. I think Nolan's hanging out. I think this team's gonna be a winner for a little while. I know I catch some flack sometimes for being more positive about the Rockies as I have been for the last couple of years, but you know what else I've been? More right. I can say that on this show because you guys put up with that. I've just been
That's
closer to the truth than anybody else. So
yeah, hell yeah.
Damn, Sam.
that's the fact of the matter.
No,
so.
hey, you know what? Shout out to the mountaintops. You know what I'm saying?
So not just on you, Desmond stuff that I can rub in your face.
So
but-
speaking of BSN, when Colin gets the Sandblaster tattoo, can we bring Spano in to get that Patriots tattoo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking guy. He'll never do that. So, thanks, Drew. We
I'm
appreciate
getting a
your insight.
QAnon tattoo.
Oh, yeah. QAnon, yeah.
I'm totally into
Yeah,
it. It's my new thing, so look for that
Oh,
on
yeah,
Twitter.
it's
soon.
really, you know what? CNN, fuck you.
Yeah. JFK
QAnon.
Jr. died to become the leader.
That's right. It's so awesome. It's good stuff. Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it. It's been a good time. This is a good show. I really, the info was good, and love Meraki's. Love Meraki's. Love them.
Shazam!
Shazam, baby. Shazam. Until next time, it's been the South Stands Denver Fancast. South Stands Live. Adios.
Do your thing, man.
We love you, Denver! Was that Trayvon Martin's father in the video? I'm not clear on that. I heard a rumor. In the video for this song, the guy who gets shot in the chair, I heard it was Trayvon Martin's dad.
Yeah, it's somebody
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Was it actually Trayvon Martin's dad?
I don't know, but I heard that too.
This song reminds me of that. Remember the old band Arrested Development? With some Tennessee in the 90s?
I think this is pure garbage. I absolutely. I've tried to like it. I just fucking can't stand
Can't
it.
do it, bro.
Can't do it.
Did you see Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yeah,
It's good.
it's fun. It's fun.
Come on.
Now my son's like,
I don't. I enjoyed it, man. I like Marvel a lot. Like I just.
well, my son tried to convince
fun.
me that this song is brilliant, and I'm like, it's fucking
Oh, my son
terrible.
hates it.
And he
My
goes, it's
son-
terrible and on purpose. You don't understand. He's mocking this music.
I don't know what his other music sounds like, so I couldn't tell.
Oh, really? You haven't heard any other
Yeah, I'm
childish?
Nope.
You should.
Do you agree with my son that he's mocking this music in this song?
No, I was kind of there. There's just all of it is satirical. The song itself is satirical. It doesn't sound like most of his other stuff. When he goes into the like mumble rap parts that are like, "This is America, don't get you slipping on." That's a satire.
That
of-
sounds
of-
like everything
of
else.
mumble rap.
Yeah.
Right. But all that other shit that he's doing is essentially jazz. Like it's not. It's more jazz than it's hip hop. All that when the choir comes in, he goes, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh.
I like
that,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's all jazz, and then he
Good.
puts in the middle of it this bullshit.
It's like the
When
hey.
This is America. Don't get you slipping
I
on.
like the Troy and Obbin
Don't get
stuff
you slipping
more
on.
than this.
That's all satire
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like fucking whoever, some mumble rapper dude.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's basically what my son told me.
Can we
Yeah.
agree we all like the Troy and Obbin stuff more than this stuff?
Who what?
Dude, Drake's new album